Hello everyone, my name is Marcella Porretta. I'm an educational assistant, or I was an educational assistant, been retired now for almost 5 years. I worked my entire 30 years all here at Monsignor Percy Johnson High School, and it's a part of me that will never leave my heart. And I'll probably get emotional because I just get emotional. And there's so many memories, so many beautiful, beautiful, amazing memories here in this school. And I guess the most memorable would be the 10 years that I spent with my students as part of the Meet a Week program, where we did so much for the school. We fundraised every single day. We went to outreaches on the weekends. We went to help seniors. We went to help the young men that were at Vita Nova, Alcohol and Rehabilitation Center. We made connections in the community that the kids never really would have thought of making. But because we used to go to the outreaches, they would befriend all the seniors, they would befriend the needy, we'd go downtown, we'd feed the homeless. That was a real big one that the kids liked to do. We walked the streets downtown and just left them sandwiches. There was so much in 10 years that I can't even mention every single one. Oh, but I do remember taking the kids to Montreal first and then to Ottawa. I embarked on a huge school bus each time. A lot of these kids had never left Rexdale. They never had the opportunity. Their parents couldn't afford it. And for many of them, we fundraised. We fundraised to allow them to go, to be able to leave, and to experience what it was like to be somewhere other than their own home. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. They had an experience of a lifetime, and they still talk about it because I keep in touch with a lot of them. And yeah, and we won many awards for the school. Not that we cared. We didn't care about the awards. One thing we always said, it wasn't about the awards or the gifts that we got. No. Those came, it was bonus. And like Sue Suter, my principal at the time, said to me, Marcella, remember, this is not about you, it's about the school. And everything we did was for the school. So, because I always felt bad and said, oh, I feel like, winning all these awards. I don't even like saying we win awards, but it was for the school that we did it. And I remember one time we actually went to pick up an award. It was raining that night. It was so dark and rainy. But we had 40 of our students come together that night. And I remember we hung around the school for a little bit, and when it was time, we headed downtown on the subway in that weather. And when we got there, we all sat down, and we were like a big group. And they said to us, okay, so not only to us, to everybody, they said, when you come up for the award, only one person is allowed to come. Well, that didn't really go too well with me. So I looked at the kids and I said, either we all go or nobody goes. And they looked at me and they said, Miss, are you sure? I said, yep, I'm sure. So they called our name out, and there was Miss Loretta Naughton, at the time. And she actually happened to be a relative of mine, and she was the superintendent at the time. And she was holding our award, and they called our school. So the kids looked at me again, and I said, let's go. So all of us, all 40 of us, got up. It was so quiet, and we just made so much noise when we got up. And Miss Naughton just shook her head because she knew me so well, and she started to laugh. And we all went, and we all took a picture, and it was just so beautiful. We made a lot of noise, but it ended up being the perfect moment. So yeah, that was a wonderful time together. And and the fundraising. Oh my God, we did so much fundraising. We did night school here, Tuesdays and Thursday nights. The kids were here. They stayed. We'd go out. We'd fill my car with drinks and with snacks. We'd make samosas. We'd make hot dogs. We made anything that we could make. We made, and then we sold to the kids here at night school, and we made money as well. Again, for Me Too We. We built many schools. If I'm not mistaken, at least 8 of them. And I believe that all these things that we did for the good of society came back to the students. They came back to the students because the students made some career decisions based on Me Too We. Some of them became doctors, some became nurses, some wanted to be in the social justice or as a social worker. And they all said, Miss, it was Me Too We that made me make this decision. So whatever we do with our students, in the end, we may think that we didn't do anything for them, but in the end, they'll come back to you and they'll say, this is because we did this and this. And that is the most beautiful feeling in the world. Another thing I wanted to say is years ago when we were in the old Johnson, so myself and Miss Master Francesco, we used to open up the gym on our lunch. We'd open up the gym, and because we thought, you know what, let's let these kids have fun on their lunch, not go down the strip and get into trouble. So the boys, mainly was the boys, I mean girls were welcome, but at the time it was the boys, they wanted to play basketball. So every single lunch hour, like we were lucky to get any food in us or else we'd bring it with us. And we'd go, and they would look through the window, and they'd say, and I go, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, I don't really feel like going. I would say to my friend, she goes, well, if you don't want to go, then I'll go. And I said, no, I'm coming. So we opened it up every day. You know what? I'm not even thinking anything of it. We just did it. I'm telling you, at least maybe 20 years later, I get a message on Facebook, and one of the students said, Miss, if I never thanked you then, I want to thank you now. Because what you did for us in opening up that gym meant so much to us, and it kept us out of trouble. And that meant the world to me. I mean, because I never thought at the time it was anything big. We just wanted to do for the kids again. Then the other thing I wanted to mention is something that happened also in the old Johnson. Was very, very memorable and will remain with me for the rest of my life, was we had a student, and she was my daughter's friend and still is her friend. Anyways, we got a message saying that Elizabeth's cancer had come back. She was a grade 9 student, just a beautiful, beautiful girl, very athletic, and the cancer came back. So at the time, Miss Newton, the gym teacher, was selling water. And I saw it, she's selling water, and it was because Elizabeth needed a bone marrow transplant. So in order for us to get this bone marrow transplant going, we needed to raise money for a clinic. So I said, she's making money with water? I said, let me see what else I could do for this. So I decided, you know what? Food is always the best way, snacks. So I got on the phone and I started calling up. Because back then, people would donate to you. Not like now, but back then people would donate. And I started getting donation after donation of snacks and food. Anyways, we were selling it. Lunch, after school, whenever we can to help raise this money for this bone marrow transplant clinic for Elizabeth. And we raised quite a bit of money. The day that we had the clinic at Johnson, I'll never forget it. It was such an emotional, it was in the gym, and tons of people came out, tons of people. So for every person, we had to pay. So that's why we raised the money. So it didn't cost the family anything. We had so many people come out. It was something that is ingrained in your heart. Anyways, one morning, I received a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning. And it's Miss Porretta. It's Elizabeth's father. Please, you can stop all fundraising because we found a match, a bone marrow match for Elizabeth. Well, we both started crying. I still get emotional over it because I'll never forget his voice. And we said, no problem. We're so happy. I'm so happy that that she was able to get the transplant, and she did. And now she has 4 beautiful children, married, has a beautiful life. She's been through some ups and downs, but she's doing really well at the moment. Praise God. Anyways, I go into the room where all the supplies are. And I say, my God, what am I going to do with all these supplies? There's a lot of food here. We can still make money. So what do? I decide I'm going to start up a candy cart because we needed to still make money for the department, for the school. We needed money. So we started with a tiny little metal cart, and I'm sure a lot of you remember that cart. From that cart, I needed something bigger. And I went to Rubbermaid. Back then there was a Rubbermaid store, and I got a beautiful Rubbermaid cart. It's a lot bigger, full. Where do we go from there? We need more room. Well, unfortunately, we took Mrs. Mary Jane Sullivan's resource office, and we kind of flooded that and made it into a candy room. And slowly, poor Miss Sullivan was kicked out of the office, but not for anything. Again, those students thanked me and said, Miss Porretta, if it wasn't for that candy room, I would have been outside on the street, and who knows the trouble I would have gone into. So again, yes, we raised money, but I left it all to them. I left it all to them in their hands. They were in charge. I may have bought the items, but they were in charge, even the money, because I gave them my full trust. Yeah. If anybody wanted to take something, it was on them. But you know what? Nobody ever did. It was just so amazing. And from then, our fundraising just escalated, and we got bigger and bigger until we got our own meet-a-wee room. And yeah, a lot of things we have to keep where they are. But it was just an amazing, amazing time. It was. And I'll never, ever forget those years of being with the kids. Oh, see, I remember things. And having that meet-a-wee room, the reason why they gave me a meet-a-wee room was because at the time, Miss Suter, she noticed that there was a need. And those kids used to eat on the floor in the hall. For some reason, they didn't want to go in the cafeteria. So those kids all came to eat inside the meet-a-wee room every single day with me. I was the one responsible for them, and they were there. And then teachers would come to me and say, oh, there's a student out there that's by themselves. Do you think it's okay? Please bring them in. So it became the room that everybody would just gather. We were like a family. We were all gathered together. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. So when people ask me, do you miss work? Or it's not that I really miss work, but I miss the kids. So yeah, the other thing, I'm just going to mention one more thing about the fact my job was to work with the students with learning disabilities and behavioral issues, but in the math classes. And when I went there, it wasn't that I just helped them. I helped the entire class. I was there for them all. I didn't segregate anybody. I didn't judge anybody. So I was there to help everybody. 30 years, how do you sum it up in 5, 10, 20 minutes? You can't. There's just way, way too much. And that's okay, because you know what? We don't do it for us. We do it for those kids. And those kids who are long gone, we hope that they've taken away something in their hearts that Johnson will always be a part of. I know Johnson will always be a part of my life. Always. Always. It's something that I can never forget, because there's too many amazing years. Too many amazing years. And thank you for making me a part of this, and for having me remembering, because yeah, you don't remember all the time, but when I sat down, I started remembering. I thought, what am I going to talk about? I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And a friend of mine said, you have so many stories. And then I started writing them down. I said, wow, like, yes, there are truly amazing. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see every single one of my students on Saturday. I'm really excited. Thank you. God bless everyone.